Hello, my name is Natalie Deal, and this is my video CBL reflection. So, the first goal that we as a group had to accomplish was that students will acquire greater political efficacy. So essentially the sense that we would have a greater knowledge of politics and feel like we could have an impact on politics. And I definitely feel like as a group we increased our knowledge of politics and political process, but through our CBL journey, if anything, I feel like, at least myself personally, I became more discouraged about my ability to make a difference in politics. Because with our particular project, we set the goal to meet with the legislator and just try to talk to them about the idea of eliminating the use of styrofoam in schools and try to get them on board with that idea. And I feel as though, if anything, because of the fact that we weren't able to successfully meet with anyone, it made me feel like it's incredibly hard to make a difference with politics and with my state government, especially because of the fact that I wasn't able to actually get in touch and physically meet with someone. It was all via phone or email, and even with those forms of communication, we just kept getting handed down from one person to the next. And now I do have a greater knowledge of how political process works, but if anything, I feel less so that I can really make a difference in my government. And I don't think that the group or the project are at fault for that. I think that's just something that we learned during the process of the project. And I don't think the project was entirely designed for things to end up that way. So, the next goal is that students will solve a difficult challenge. Well, first of all, we weren't able to solve our challenge. We set the goal for us to meet with a legislator and tell them about styrofoam and try to convince them to at least think about the idea of eliminating it in schools. And we weren't able to do that. We weren't able to meet with a legislator, so we weren't able to solve that challenge that we presented ourselves with. And the funny thing is that I think initially we didn't think it was that difficult. We said, okay, all we have to do is schedule a meeting with a legislator, meet with them, tell them about our idea. And we're like, they don't actually have to present legislation. That would just be nice. And they don't even really have to take us seriously. We just wanted to plant that seed in their mind, and hopefully it would pop up and start to grow, but we weren't expecting much out of this. We just wanted to meet with them. And I feel like, at least I initially thought that was just a really simple challenge. I didn't actually think it was that difficult. I thought it was going to be really easy. And it's funny how it kind of turned around and bit us in the butt, because it ended up being way more difficult than we ever could have imagined. And when we were able to contact people, they just didn't respond, or if they did respond, it wasn't helpful, or they just didn't have the resources or the expertise to help us, or they didn't have the time to meet with us because of vacation. So I feel like we started out with what I thought was going to be a simple challenge, and it ended up becoming incredibly difficult, and we weren't able to solve it. And I don't think that we were at fault, we were at fault, but it wasn't our group dynamic that caused this challenge. This difficulty. It was the fact that we just weren't very good with timing, because we contacted Senator Levin very early on, but he wasn't actually the person we had planned to meet with, because he was a U.S. Senator. We just thought that he would be a good resource to have. But the other two legislators in the state, Mike Cole and Cindy Denby, first we contacted Miss Denby, and we were really banking on her, and then when she fell through because she wasn't in the right committee and couldn't help us, then we were really hoping Mike Cole would work, and he was on vacation. So we really should have just contacted more legislators so that we could have a better chance of being able to meet with someone, because so much of our other plans just fell through and we didn't have a lot of backups or a lot of time to fix it. But I also don't think we had the foresight to know that we should have contacted more legislators. We thought it was going to be very straightforward and it was going to work very easily and smoothly, and it didn't. And we just didn't think that we would have to contact more people in advance because we didn't think it would just fail so miserably. The next goal was that students will learn to develop instruments of assessment. And I think we failed at this. With the other group evaluations and their peer evaluations, a common theme was that we weren't really able to measure the difference that we make. And we weren't able to assess whether or not we were able to achieve our solution very well. Because our solution was that we would meet with the legislator. And it's just a very sort of black or white, yes we did, no we didn't kind of thing. And there's no real way to measure the difference that we made. Like the way the other group was able to measure their difference by water bottle sales, we didn't really have a way of measuring our difference like that. So I think we failed in that sense of being able to develop an instrument of assessment. And I think we were all at fault in sort of not seeing the flaw of the goal we had set for ourselves and that there was no real way of measuring it. And I just don't think we put that much thought into whether or not we would make a measurable difference. We were just thinking about making a difference, and we kind of just sort of skimmed over that part and didn't really take it into account that much. So at the end, when we're going over our journey to do our unwrapping presentation, we realized, oh, it's kind of hard to measure the difference that we wanted to make. So I think we were all just sort of at fault for not really thinking about that and planning ahead. The next goal was for students to show initiative, and I really think our group did. Our group members, we were, in Miss Harkness's office calling legislators every day almost, and drafting letters to legislators, contacting school board members for their support, contacting Ms. Linsky, the cafeteria staff. I think we showed a lot of initiative and really worked hard to try and make this project a success. I think it was a little bit hard second semester senior year, although we did have Christina a junior. But I still think we showed a lot of initiative and were really invested in this project, especially at the end when we sort of saw that it was failing. We really stepped up to try and save it, and it didn't work, but we learned a lot along the way. So I definitely think we showed initiative. And the next goal was that students will become policy entrepreneurs. And I definitely think that we did that. In that, pardon me one second. We were trying to make a difference in politics and try to be really active in political process and create a political project. And our project was definitely revolving around policy, and that we wanted to introduce some sort of bill that would make a difference in our state by eliminating the use of styrofoam. And I think we achieved that goal. We weren't able to introduce that policy, but we were political entrepreneurs, and that we had that idea and we tried to work to see it through. And then the last, but most certainly not least goal, was that students will acquire a greater ability to collaborate. And I believe we most certainly did that. We were in constant contact with each other, whether through the email or through the Google Doc. We really tried to work together. At times it was difficult to find a common meeting time, whether it was for a meeting with Mr. Baker to go over our Google Doc or trying to meet before our final presentation to run over our slides. But we really worked very well together, and we had our common goal, and we worked together to help draft letters, to help call legislators, to help create a presentation, to help collect signatures, and I think we all worked very well together. And I definitely credit our group dynamic to our ability to achieve that goal. So now that I've gone through all the goals, what did I think about the experience of the CBL? I definitely think it was stressful, quite a bit, especially when we realized that we were failing at achieving our goal. But I really did learn a lot, because you can read in a government textbook that, representatives and senators are supposed to be public servants, and you can read in a textbook that sometimes it's hard to contact them, but I don't think it's until you really try to do that that you realize the truth in the words in that textbook. And these are lessons that I'll carry with me for the rest of my life, and I know that if for whatever reason I need to contact a senator or a representative, I need to be incredibly persistent. And I really enjoy this project because I got to work with a group of girls that I didn't really spend that much time with before, and I learned a lot. So thank you.